to Holistically Healthy TV. I am your host, Jim Burdamy, and today we're going to be doing a segment of Table Time with Jim wrapped up into one of these shows because now that winter is coming, it's going to be very cold outside. It's already getting cold. The weather's kind of up and down, and so keeping yourself nourished and warm is really, really important. And so I've been doing a couple of the things on the board here, which I wanted to share with you so that you can possibly or hopefully incorporate them into your lifestyle, into your nutrition. So this way it's aiding you and supporting you in making sure that you're getting enough nutrition and also preparing your meals. But then also there's also that sense of comfort that certain things like that we're going to talk about, like warming things, can help you with, because the sun goes down earlier now. Some people don't really like it. Some people go into a little mini depression. Some people get really depressed because there's not as much sunlight now. And I particularly have never had a problem with it. I've grown up in this climate my whole life, but just everybody's different. So having that sense of nourishment from the food, but then also having that sense of almost comfort, wrapping yourself in a nice warm blanket and having either a nice hot cup of tea or soup or something like that can kind of make you feel even a little bit better and maybe boost and lift your spirits a little bit. So if that helps you, then I'm happy to share this with you. You want to make the most out of your meals. And what I mean by that is that when you're making a meal, especially, and I've talked about this before, this idea of making something that will go a long way, but when you're making the most out of your meals, you're loading up your meals with a lot of good nutrients and well balanced. So I mean, have your protein in there, have your fat in there, and have your vegetables in there. And if you're making something like a soup, a stew, or a chili, you can incorporate all of those different things in that particular meal. And it's really good, one, because it's warming, two, because it's very, very nourishing, and three, because you can make a lot of it and you can have leftovers. And so if you have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like I say, or dinner, breakfast, and then lunch, because dinner would be meal number one, breakfast would be meal number two, lunch would be meal number three. And even if you didn't want to have breakfast, you could still do dinner and lunch for the same meal. Now, you can even, again, have it for dinner the next night if you'd like to, because maybe, you just don't have anything else that you've prepared yet. But that also comes in the planning and preparing process. But if you haven't actually prepared anything, one, you could either have it for dinner the next night, or you just freeze it. And then when it comes around in your rotation again, so let's say you're having beef stew, if you're following a 4-day rotation diet like I've talked about before, then that would be on your beef day, of course, or your bovine day, and then come day 4, day 5, however your rotation works, then you could thaw that out and already, now you have enough already made. So that could be really, really good too. So you could do something like a chicken soup, a beef stew, and a pork chili, or something like that, or just a bean chili if you wanted to, depending on what your dietary preferences are. So making the most of your meals is important, because then you can stretch them out. And if you're already feeling a little down from the weather, or people are getting sick a lot of the times, if you're feeling like that, then it might feel like a little bit more effort to plan and prepare your meals. So if you're making the most of your meals, that will get you by a lot easier. And again, it's a lot more convenient because you don't have to do this. You don't have to cook this and put that in the oven on 350 for this, and go out to the grill like I have to with the chicken and do the whole thing with the chicken. A lot of times with the soup, the stew, or the chili, you're kind of working all right in with the same vicinity of yourself. You're kind of making everything with a pot after you've cut up all your vegetables, and then you're just kind of working in that particular area, and it's a lot easier for you. Okay, so you can load it up with veggies. With my chili and even my stew, I put kale in the stew, I put cauliflower in the stew, carrots, onions, garlic, a little bit of potato. So you can get a good amount of vegetables in with it too. I've even done spinach in chicken soups. So you can incorporate some fresh spinach along with your carrots and your celery and your garlic and things like that. And chili, we add zucchini. If you've ever seen my post on chili that I've made before, I'll add zucchini, of course peppers and tomatoes and garlic and onions and things like that. So you can get a little extra veggies in there too, to make it a little bit more hearty. And then one of the things I really, really recommend, which I'm going to be doing a video on pretty soon is making your own bone broth. This is extremely cost effective to make it yourself, and there's really not a whole lot of reason to not make it. I'll give you an example, because as far as the cost effective, I'll give you an example. We go to a farmer's market every week and they sell a quart for $9 of the bone broth, and it's absolutely delicious. But they also sell a bag, a 5-pound bag of bones for $10. And that one 5-pound bag of bones can get me, I don't even know how many quarts. I mean, it's got to be at least 5 or 6. So from a cost perspective, it's way, way better. And then, you know, you just have more of it, you know, and it's just something's kind of nice about, you know, the smells that the bone broth makes in the house. And, you know, when we're talking about chicken bone broth, I just recently made it, and it was, I should have done a video on it, I'm sorry, but it was about 8 to 9 hours that we let it cook. It was just basically overnight. I chopped up all the vegetables, and that's the other thing. It's really, really super simple to do, and I'll show you that in the video when I make it, but you don't have to, you know, dice anything up really, but, you know, you just clean it, you cut it up real coarse, you dump it in the pot, you fill it with water, you let it sit for a little bit, and then you boil it, and then you're pretty much good to go. So it's really just about time and preparation, but once you make it, you have it for a long time because you're making it on your own, you're making a decent amount. So make your own bone broth. It's loaded with nutrients. You don't skim any of the fat off the top of it because that's where a lot of your nutrients are. Again, fat is actually really, really good for energy purposes, to keep your cell structure. Most of our cells are made up of, almost 50% of our cells are made up of saturated fat. So everybody has this idea in their head, if they eat fat, that they're gonna be fat, and that's just not the case. So make your own bone broth, and I'm gonna show you how to do that in some of the upcoming videos. An idea for dinner tonight for you: leek and potato soup with a little bit of a mystery ingredient. So the one mystery ingredient that I use in the leek and potato soup is cauliflower, and you can even add spinach and things like that, but then that'll change the color of it. But cauliflower, and it's really, really super simple. I'm going to post the recipe below this video, so whether you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description below, or if you're watching this on Facebook, it'll be on Facebook as well. So I'm going to include the instructions for it. It's really simple. You just get some leeks, you get some potatoes, some cauliflower, and some chicken stock, and you know, there's really not a whole lot to do with it. You can probably have the whole thing ready within about 40 minutes, I'd say, because you do have to blend everything up after you cook it and let everything soften up in the broth. Then you have to take one of the pieces out, and then you just put it in the blender, puree it until it's nice and smooth, and there you go. So very, very easy, very warming, creamy, and you know, you can still get your vegetables in there. So that is my idea and my recommendation for you today. So I will get that in the description below, so this way you can run out and get the ingredients if you don't already have them. Most people don't have leeks on hand, but hey, maybe you do. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you can use some of these tips in the winter time to come. And please, if this was helpful for you, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share this video around to anybody that you think that this would be beneficial to. I love sharing this stuff with you, but if you want any more of something either I mentioned on here, or if you just have an idea, you're like, wow, I wonder, you know, I'm curious about this, maybe he can cover this, please shoot me a message. Put it in the link, put it in the description below, you know, however you want to. I make it pretty easy to get in touch with me. So let me know what you're looking for, what would help you the most, and I will see you next time, because together, you and I, we're getting healthier every day.